In this video, we're going to be talking a little bit about geography and archaeology and why these things are important in our study of the Bible. First, we're asking the question, what is archaeology? Archaeology is the recovery and analysis of material remains, or a shorter way to say that is a recovery of things that have been left behind by an ancient society. Archaeology seeks to establish what happened, history, what life was like, culture, sociology, religion, values, and many other things. And it differs from historical analysis of literary remains or texts. And some important archaeological terms. Artifacts are physical items recovered through archaeology, so plates and bowls and divine figurines and that sort of thing. Ostraca are broken pottery, broken pieces of pottery, sometimes with writing on them, but sometimes not. An ossuary is a bone box, which is a stone box into which bones of the deceased were placed after the body, the remains of the person, had been reduced to bones. This is what's called a secondary burial. And just as an illustration, this is what is going on when after Jesus dies, Joseph of Arimathea places him into a new tomb where no one before had been laid. And an inscription is a text chiseled into stone. We'll see an example of an inscription later on. Papyri is the plural of the noun papyrus, which is which are paper-like sheets on which both literary and non-literary texts have been preserved. And an example of a non-literary text might even be something like a shopping list. And these non-literary texts are often preserved by accident. Strata, or the singular is a stratum. These are layers within a site where artifacts come from the same time period. That's how things can be dated from the time period they come from. And usually newer strata are found above the older. So the first thing you'll find when you dig down into the ground will be the newest strata, or newest stratum. And finally, provenance is an exact description of where an artifact was originally unearthed or dug out of the ground. It's very, very important to note exactly how something was found. And in terms of geography, we can look at a few maps here. This first one is a map of the ancient Near East. This is the wider area in which the Bible comes into being, particularly the Old Testament. And the area in the middle is called the Fertile Crescent. This is the area of land that could be farmed and where most of the people lived. And our next map is a map of some trade routes, places where caravans carrying goods would go from one part of the world to another part of the world. And this is a map of the circum-Mediterranean region, or the region around the Mediterranean Sea. This is the important area for the New Testament. And when you click on these names here, the city names, they're all going to the city or the region, in the case of Galatia, where they belong, like this. So it helps you identify some of the important places for the New Testament, places like Philippi, where the letter to the Philippians was sent, or Athens, which is the an important place for the exchange of ideas in the ancient world. And of course, Jerusalem is of preeminent importance for the study of the Bible. And next map here, a couple of maps talking about the tribal areas of ancient Israel after Joshua and the Israelites came across the Jordan River and eventually settled in the land. Then we have a graphic description of what Palestine, or the land of Israel, would look like in the New Testament times. And there were four general areas in this time: Judea, which is the where Jerusalem was found, and Samaria, which is where the Samaritans come from. This is in the northern part of Palestine. Galilee, up further north, this is where Jesus and the disciples had come from. And over on the other side of the Jordan River is a group of 10 cities called the Decapolis. And see some of the other important cities from the New Testament times. We have Bethlehem, and up further north we have Nazareth and Capernaum, where Jesus did a lot of his early ministry. Jerusalem, down back in the south, where Jesus was ultimately crucified, and Caesarea along the coast. This is the place where Peter recognized that Jesus was the Messiah, the Son of God. And last city put it on there is a town called Qumran, which is a settlement out in the desert, and the Dead Sea Scrolls were found in this place, and they had a lot of importance for interpretation of the Bible. In terms of geographical conditions of Israel-Palestine, Israel has both mountains and low-lying flatlands. The range of temperatures throughout the year is from about 5 degrees to 38 degrees Celsius, or that ranges from about 41 to about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And the very hot climate affects the preservation of written materials. And so the Dead Sea Scrolls, they were one of the reasons why they survived for 2,000 years was they were put into clay jars and hidden in caves so that the temperature, the climate would not destroy them. And here's an interesting photo of the Israelite temple in Arad. Arad was a town in just into the Negev desert down in the south. And this is the only temple to the true God, Yahweh, that has ever been found in the land of Israel. We have remnants of Solomon's temple, primarily the Wailing Wall on the western wall of the temple, but the political situation in Israel is such that archaeological investigation is not really allowed in that area, so we won't really know. But a little bit closer up picture of the Holy of Holies at Arad, and you could even see the temple, or the altar in there where the sacrifices were made. And in the areas where, or in the times when worship was put all together in the temple in Jerusalem, there was very great care taken with the altar in Arad. It wasn't just destroyed, but the original pictures, looks like it was very carefully lifted up and very carefully put away. So there was a lot of respect for this holy place. And here's a picture of an inscription. This is called the Dan Stela because it was discovered in the ancient city of Dan in 1993. And this was very important because it was the first external evidence outside the Bible that was ever found describing the Davidic dynasty. And lines 7 to 9 on the big piece on the right are important. And they're translated from the Aramaic language in which this is written. They say, "I killed Jehoram, son of Ahab, king of Israel, and I killed Ahaziah, son of Jehoram, king of the house of David. And to conclude, published studies about various passages of the Bible often refer to archaeology. And we should read these critically, following the argument and how it's presented. Current archaeological research is often accessible from the Biblical Archaeology Review, and we have that website on the screen there. And also some first-hand study for some sites is available at the Virtual World Project.